Welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute once again since I've been out here to the range. Life is busy. Today, as you see by the thumbnail, we are talking about this pistol, 11.5-inch upper SBA3 brace. Now before we begin this, let's backstep a little bit. A lot of people have looked at my 300 Blackout SBR videos, or even the M92 PAP, my short barrel AK. Both of those are registered short barrel rifles, so I can do whatever I want with them. This one, I cannot legally put a pistol, foregrip on there. But this one, my legally registered short barrel rifle with suppressor, I can do whatever I want with this. But people are saying, why would you go through the trouble of doing that when you could just slap a pistol brace on it? Back when I built the 300 Blackout, or assembled it, the only pistol brace really that was out there was that original big honking sliding around, just loosely fit on a receiver tube, a slick receiver tube or buffer tube, the original SIG brace. I roll in a picture here so you know what I'm talking about. If they had these around that time, I may have considered just going the pistol route. But I do like having the option of foregrip in full stock. Full actual stock. Now, of course, if you're familiar with SBRs, there are limitations to these. If I want to take it out of state legally, I have to notify ATF, all that stuff. So there are pros and cons to each route of a short-barreled rifle type weapon. So just to get a few things out of the way, any magazine that we're using today, just for the YouTubes people, have a 10-round limiter. So these are not 30-round magazines. These are 20. So they're YouTube compliant. What a thing of beauty. So the backstory on this particular gun here. I had this stripped lower sitting around on my shelf for about 3 years. Just kind of waiting on something to do with it. Wasn't sure if I wanted to make sort of a longer range marksman type rifle or one of these. And with, certain parties being in office, certain legislation kicking around, who knows when the ATF might one day decide that these are no longer legal. So I decided to go the pistol route. I already had the upper, the rear sight. I need to get another one of these rear sight. I really like these, the Daniel Defense. They're rugged and they're tough, they hold. And of course, I had the integrated front sight here. So, all is well. And I did put the Magpul handguard on there. So I already had the upper and the stripped lower. So I was perusing around Palmetto State Armory's website one day, and they had a steal of a deal going on. So for much less than $150, I was able to finish out everything. Lower kit, brace, buffer tube, all that good stuff. And in the political gun climate right now, that's not easy, not the easiest thing to do these days. Build a budget-friendly pistol. It's a pistol. So I didn't bring my steel target with me today. I didn't have room in the truck, honestly, to carry the wagon and the steel target, the stand, all that. And I'm only putting a few rounds through this anyway. I know this is already pretty well sighted in, and this would be kind of a close quarters weapon anyway. So let's see how she does here. There's a target stand already up there, so we'll just shoot it. Mainly looking for functionality here anyway, just to making sure everything on this new lower is kind of broken in, worn in, and working. First few rounds okay. Let's try some double taps. Now the one downside to the kit that I got It just came with a plain old standard mil-spec trigger. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But I generally prefer a little bit lighter trigger, a little bit more crisp. So I may be putting a CMC 3.5 pound flat-faced on here eventually. So far, so good. Let's take it back here a few steps. Well, there are a few random stray paint cans, stuff like that, and I'm hitting them just fine from here, so we'll call that a success. I would say it's sighted in, at least for short distances. Should be okay for longer distances too, the way I sighted it in. So one last thought on this particular pistol here, if you will. Yes, there are pros and cons to doing a pistol or an SBR on an AR platform rifle, but there's also one other option, and he just happened to show up. And yes, JunkFoodZombie is still in existence, but he happened to recently acquire one of these. If you're familiar with firearms or any kind of video games, you'll know this is Steyr Aug. And if you hold these two, even collapsed all the way, this with the 11.5 inch barrel is just a hair longer than the Steyr. And you've got a 16 inch barrel with that, so you're not losing any ballistics. Let's put a couple rounds through this while we got it here. And in YouTube compliance, yes, this has a limiter in it. Only hold 20 rounds, but I've only put a few in it. And for the more savvy Steyr Aug viewers, will know that this is the European version with the proprietary magazine. So there is that issue. They're not that much more expensive than a PMag, but it's more authentic. So we got her loaded up. Let's see how it feels. Now, one downside to bullpups, the trigger can be a little worse. This one's not too bad. And with this ACOG on here, zeroed in like JunkFoodZombie has it, very accurate. Shooting this is gonna be bad for my bank account. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more. Whee! Well, it hits right. Where'd it go?